guess it's working now. I don't know. Thanks. Okay, that you have back.
Nope. That's a bad idea.
So, sorry about the delay, but you know, most kids around here do come from a ranching and farming background, strong Christian beliefs, stuff like that. So we have to find a way to incorporate those that may not necessarily be a part of those beliefs. And so how can we do that? How can we include those that don't necessarily share those common cultural traditions? Hey?
Programming is one way to do that, especially with our diversity programming.
Because everybody's required to participate in like one diversity program. So, you know, here we have some examples. We have international students. And even within that, we have students from all across the country. You know, just within the football team, we've checked in students from California, Georgia, all over the United States. And they bring a different set of values, a different set of beliefs with them. So we have to find a way to incorporate all that and make everybody feel included, or give them the opportunity to feel included. Some students choose not to include themselves. You can't do anything about that. I don't know how you feel about not being able, or not or having somebody that you can't include or doesn't want to be included.
Yeah, I don't know much. Never involved in the whole time. After a while, I think they kind of give in and just kind of go with it. Not that like they're not really not happy about it, but they'll eventually just kind of give in and go with it. So we get after that.
I know the hardest part is continually approaching that student, trying to get them to feel included or get them to almost give into a sense. That's one of our goals, is to get everybody out of the room. And I know it's harder in Andrews and high rise. I don't know how it is in Etna. Are there, like in the hall, the kids kind of stay to themselves, or is it more social?
They usually stick pretty close in for sleeping. So, I mean, they'll go do things, but they're gonna stay in there and you have to go.
Drag them out. It was the same way in Brooks. Brooks is its own little community within itself. People don't venture out of Brooks for some reason.
I think a lot of them are going to for like, and the rest of campus.
Yeah.
So, that's good for them.
So if you can try to program in those areas and draw some of your residents over there to co-interact with those residents over there, that's one strategy that's been employed in the past and it's worked okay. Or encourage your residents, if there's a program going on, to go over there and actually, get out of high-rise, get out of Andrews. You can't, you go to Etna. Understand where Etna is in the first place. So, this is kind of, what station talk about this?
These are all basically just like what I did last year to get the community I had on my floor. Like my floor, I don't know if any of you actually know, we were really close. We were together all the time. We were in my room, we were in each other's. I talked to them all summer. Like we're also pretty good friends. But at the same time, they knew their boundaries and they respected what they had to do. So to build communities on your floors for your floor programs that are making us do this semester, those will help out a lot because it'll hopefully get everyone to come out of their rooms more often. Keep your door open. Whenever I was in my room, my door was open all the time. Like, I mean, obviously you're gonna have to close it eventually, but like my door was pretty much open, and if it wasn't all the way open, I just had it cracked like Johnson the other day. Talk to your residents every day, not just when you're on your floor, like if you see them in the caf or see them out on campus, just be like, hey, what's up? Ask them how their day is, how their classes are. A lot of times they don't want to talk to you when you're with your friends because they don't know if they can approach you when you're with your friends. So try talking to them even when you are, so that they know, like that you can be. I would go knock on my girls' door. I guess I'm parents too, but I'd knock on their door every day and talk to them. So they always knew. Make sure that you know that you're always there to help them. Like I said, I talk to them every day if they needed anything. report something to you, make sure you take care of it in a timely manner, like maintenance reports. Like I had some kids from other floors come and tell me that they reported something to their RA and it still hasn't been done. And then the maintenance office never actually gone there. So sometimes I know we get busy and we forget, but know what your residents do for fun and like who they are, like who their friends are, like what they like to do. So you can use that to get to know them better, break the ice. Like if you know, like one of them likes to do theater, talking about the shows because the theater department's busy all the time. Or like I talk to a couple of my girls about their art and stuff. So just find to calm them down. And even if you don't know what it is, ask them about it. I'm sure they'd be glad to tell you. So.
One of the things on these maintenance reports, you don't actually physically have to go down and write it. Make them go downstairs and write it. But maybe do a follow-up that helps with maintenance if they know kind of what they're getting into before they show up. A lot of times what people say it isn't actually what it is. Can't tell you how many times I've heard that my light fixture is completely broken. It's simply a light bulb that needs to be changed. Kids tend to over-exaggerate. There's some kids that under-exaggerate things because they are somewhat mechanically inclined. They know what it is, but they can't tell you what it is. So don't be afraid to go to the room and try to get an idea of what you're looking at. Between the two of you, you should be able to kind of get an idea of what it is. It's simply a light bulb that needs to be changed. That can just be written down. But somebody's sink's broke. Is the sink physically broke, or is the plumbing broke? What tools do they need in order to do their job? So that will help get things done in a more timely manner.
When you're going to your activities, you can invite them to go. Kind of how I started with all of my girls is we go to like football games and stuff, so basketball would come. A couple of our kids were on the football team. One of the boys came to my floor, so we'd go and support our floor members kind of thing. So we just ask them to go with you. Show them respect. They'll respect you if you respect them. That's a big thing. Respect their opinions, their religious beliefs. I actually watched Boy Too Smudgy last year. I had to watch it because that was too cool. But I mean, I had lots of kids with different beliefs and stuff, and just show them the respect that they deserve, and they'll respect you back, and then they know. And then I think one of the really important things is show them that you really do care. Like, I mean, you don't necessarily have to like them, but they show them that you care about them, like what's happening. Because I think when they know you care, they'll open up more, and open up more, they'll build a better community with you.
Building community within the residence halls. We build community within the floors, but then we also attempt to build it within the complex as a whole for all of the residence halls. You know, it starts with just a group of people out to the floor, out to the actual individual hall, and from there it builds across campus. You know, I think a lot of people saw how this campus really pulled together for the Carney game, for the basketball game. You know, we haven't had that much attendance in a basketball game in 10 years. Because it meant something. Everybody was there. So you have to find a way to make it mean something to them. And like Nate touched on, one of the ways we do this is programming. We don't do this just because it's a requirement of us and we make you guys do it. It's not always the most fun thing to do, and a lot of times it's an added stress in the middle of a very busy time of year. You know, for whatever reason, you got classes, friends, social life, and then you throw a program in the middle of it and things get stressful. So we don't just do it to make you do it. It has a purpose. And so, Cassie, I don't know if you can touch on how we use programming to strengthen that community.
There's like, when those people can just come together and like have fun and enjoy it, they kind of get along a lot better too. Because they're doing something fun together. And I've seen like roommates that didn't get along at all and they put together to a program and have fun. And things start getting better after that, so it helps kind of strengthen it like in that way.
Does anybody have anything else to add on that? The question is, can we use programs to break down barriers and stigmas that may influence the structure of a community? Can we utilize that to our benefit to maybe try to understand some of those cultural beliefs participated in a diversity program. Everybody that's probably those of you that were just residents last year that are now RAs. You probably went to a diversity program, didn't know it. What are some of those barriers that we're trying to break down?
I know the big one that I've seen in the past, it wasn't really been hard last year, but this year, is the conversation with the cops. That's a big one, especially since freshmen and college students and college out. Just to sit down with the cop and ask them whatever they want. If you got an MIP last night or you got drugs on you, you ask them what happened, or if someone does have drugs on them, I can search it, they're gonna tell you what's going on, what they're gonna have to do. So that everybody like is looking for ways to most students.
That's a good one. The one I kind of thought of was the sexual orientations that we try to sometimes look at. That's a belief that everybody holds, and that's what you believe is what you believe, but just because you believe that doesn't make you a bad person, one way or the other. So we try, we do have those type of programs. We also have food programs. People may not understand what the food of a different culture is, but people want to understand it. They want to know what sushi is all about. And coming from the Midwest, where we do live, people don't always know. There's people that are here that have never tried sushi. But is it something that you would enjoy, something when you were able to go to a bigger city or something and have that option? Is that something you would be interested in? So, you're not helping.
Sorry.
So, that's just kind of what we can use that, how we can use programming to our benefit. And now this is just kind of time for you guys to talk amongst yourself and how you've built community in the past. We've given you guys ideas, but is there anything that you've done that's worked that we may not know about?
I know last year my floor was pretty separated. It actually separated within the hall, like within the floor itself, because I had track kids, like this half of my floor, and then I had international, then I had like some of the rodeo team, and then the rest was football players. So I mean, I had 4 different groups right there. Most of my friends were on the track team, and I knew some of the couple of them were they weren't so international, they're still not from the United States. But the biggest thing is we would get together out in the lobby. The football players would do their homework out there, the track team would come out, we'd all be hanging out in the lobby doing homework. And that was one of the big ways to bring everybody together. The rodeo team was too big of a homework, so they so
Not sure they know how to do So, that's something simple. That's something that didn't require any effort, really, other than to go knock on a few doors and say, hey guys, come hang out in the lobby. You don't have to go to the big extent of putting on a program. Just getting your residents together in a common area where they can share common interests, or I don't know if that's an interest or a common requirement, but
I mean, my floor was the loudest in high rise last year, been all year, but it quieted down since we could all go out and be loud if they wanted to. It wouldn't disturb anybody on the floor, and then when they got done doing homework or whatever, everybody went and it was quiet.
yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that last year, but it was a big difference from the semester to the semester.
I think as long as it has, did you know that? Like in Kent last year, we didn't have that, we hung out in the hallway. Like, we just surrounded one door and hung out in their hallway, so it makes it a little more difficult because my floor didn't really want to go on into the study room because that's where all the wrestling boys were all the time. And so, so the lobbies, I don't know how we are in Edna, but the lobbies will make it a lot easier in high rise.
High rise is nice for
Yeah.
you pretty much, high rise is like its own town within the city, because you have your own communities on the floor. I mean, you go walk down the floors until it's totally different from one floor to the next, based on the people, based on
every floor has its own dynamic. You have to be aware of that. And even when you're doing your rounds and everything, you know, just because you're trying to build community on your own individual floor, when you're doing your rounds and you're getting to know residents within the building, try to understand that dynamic and how everything operates within the floor. You may go from the 3rd floor to the 6th floor, and it may be two totally different places. You know, or, I know from the basement of Brooks last year to the 3rd floor, it was completely different. The kids in the basement were kind of introverts and would talk to a lot of people. That was just how they were. But the 3rd floor was very social, the doors were always open, music was going. And that was just kind of like to go, you know, but those kids all were able to interact if we had something that happened in the lobby or whatever. Those were the 2 floors that would show up for the event in the lobby. They would all interact. But between the 2 floors, when you separate them, they're 2 totally different types of people. So you just have to be aware of that and keep that in mind. So Chad, I know you kind of were out from the outside looking in last year.
You know, my floor, I was on 2nd North last year. Before I was an RA, I was there too as an RA, and I had gotten to know all the guys as just as a resident. So I already knew them as going to an RA, and they knew me, and they were like, "Oh, he's pretty cool, whatever." Hopefully that's what they thought. But anyways,
That's what they told you behind your back.
and you know, everybody on 2nd North, it was 2nd North, so it was kind of the party floor or whatever. And everybody just kind of hung out with each other, you know, at parties or in each other's rooms. And when I became an RA, I didn't have to really worry about trying to build a community in my hallway, just because everybody was already there and they knew each other. It was pretty easy to walk down the hallway, no matter who it is. You really need to say hi, just because, you know, you're on the floor, you've seen them before, you might have hung out with them before, or whatever. But yeah, just on the outside looking in, it's a lot different, because a lot of the kids, you know, I hang out with them. You know, they talk about drinking, smoking, doing whatever. But then as an RA, they'll joke with you about it, but they won't be like, yeah, it's like they're more reserved about it, which, you know, it's understandable. But I think just be like, I don't care what you do as long as you're not doing the norms and hurting anybody.
Once you build a community like on your floor, it's easier to build a community with the rest of the building, because the kids on your floor are going to know people on different floors, and they're going to bring them up there. And I met a lot of the boys from the 3rd floor, the other wing, because they started hanging out with the girls on my floor, and a lot more football players were on my floor because Jamie Bergmark was up there. So they were all kind of through, you know. And then like they would bring their friends that they meet in class or that they meet elsewhere to like the other programs and stuff like that. So you can, once you build a community on your floor, it's a lot easier to start building a community within the rest of your building.
One thing I noticed as an RA is don't put yourself above them as an RA. You're still a resident. And that's something you got to keep in mind, is that, you know, when you need to step into that RA role, you can, but at the same time, you still live there amongst those people. And that's sometimes hard to remember, but if you keep that mindset, things go a lot smoother. So you have to keep that line of communication open and allow yourself to kind of fluctuate in between while still living in that fishbowl.
I worked very closely with an RA who, she basically had it in her mind that her main job was to catch whoever was doing whatever, and that caused a lot of problems. Like, her residents really retaliated against her, and like, weren't being very nice, and like, it wasn't very nice, but she didn't treat them very nice either. So there was no way she could even begin to build a community after that. But when you're just a normal person, like Brian says, making yourself like real and on their level is a lot easier, because they're not speaking up to you, and it's just a lot easier.
It goes along with the whole respect I said earlier. Like this year, last year was my first year at Chadron. Like I transferred over here from another school. So I was kind of in the same boat with my freshman girls. Like I didn't know where anything else was either. So we kind of tackled that together. So I mean, if you put yourself with them, and you're superior to them in a way, but in the same way you're also not. So don't go all high and mighty on a power trip on them. They'll respond better.
regardless of who you are, whether that be a celebrity, you know, an athlete, or anybody, you're still a person. If you keep that in mind, it will go a long ways in helping you get to know your residents, making those observation reports easier. And in the end, those are friendships that you can continue for a long time. So, does anybody have anything else to add?